New this fall on ABC.
Thank heaven. Poor little girl.
Loser.
Poor little girl.
You using this?
My retainer? Yes.
John Ritter returns to ABC in 8 Simple Rules, Tuesdays this fall. Part of Happy Hour, every weeknight this fall starting at 8, 7 Central.
This holiday season, it's time to get rolling because Singular is changing the world of wireless by offering 1,000 anytime minutes for $39.99 and letting you keep the minutes you don't use from month to month. It's called Rollover. It's big, and it's only from Singular Wireless. 1,000 anytime minutes, and every one of them has rollover. And now get this cool Motorola phone, only from Singular Wireless.
Behind every pretty teenage girl is her overprotective dad.
A father only has a few chances to put the fear of God into a daughter's boyfriend.
And his simple rules to keep the boys away.
If you make her cry, I will make you cry. No. You're a teenager with raging hormones. I'm a father with a raging temper.
8 Simple Rules, Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. on FX.
Yeah, I'm checking you out. Kyle.
Sitcom, all ye faithful, a Christmas podcast special, where for the fourth time I discussed 25 Christmas sitcom episodes. Please come and listen as we count down to Christmas. You should see Punky Brewster, the Partridges and Benson. Michael J. Fox will return, and for one more year the Fonz will definitely have one last episode with the Fonz.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy day 12 of Sitcom, are ye faithful? It's Thursday night, December 12th, and I'm finally here talking to you about another Christmas sitcom episode. Today, I'm here talking to you about the 12th episode of the first season of 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter, later to just be known as 8 Simple Rules in its third and final season. This is a show that I never watched one episode of. All I know, it was a show that John Ritter was on. It was, fairly well received at the time. And John Ritter was married to Peggy Bundy. So Jack Tripper was married to Peggy Bundy, had 3 kids. One of them went on to be Penny. I know that it felt like a typical 90s, actually, late 90s sitcom for ABC, a family sitcom. But this was based on a book. Now, what I don't know is if the character that John Ritter played is the same character as the man who wrote the book, and it doesn't seem like it. But John Ritter plays a guy named Paul Hennessy. See, I couldn't even tell you his name. A former sports writer who works from home as a lifestyle columnist. So he's working from home in the early 2000s, working on his laptop all the way back then. But this was actually the premise of the show was derived from the book 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter by W. Bruce Cameron. I have no idea when that book came out, but it was a book first, and then that turned into this show that lasted for, as I say, 3 seasons. unfortunately, the show is infamously known as the last thing that John Ritter worked on, because he was working on this show when he died. I was just reading up a little bit on it. Now, it was, 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. John Ritter and Katie Segal, they are parents to 3 kids, 2 of which are known, I think, for this show, and Kaylee Cuoco. And what were the kids' names? Bridget, Carrie, and Rory. And they're the typical teenage kids, where Bridget, I think, is more of the, I guess, playing the bimbo, the blonde, just a little more of the wild child. Maybe not bimbo, but more of the wild child. Rory is the young punk, not punk, but like wise ass, goofy kid. And Carrie's somewhere in the middle. Maybe she's the responsible one. At least that's what I'm getting from this episode. And for a year and a half, John Ritter played the dad. And then on September 11th, 2003, I remember waking up and listening to, I think, the Stern Show, and them talking about John Ritter dying. And I was like, what the hell? And literally the first episode of the second season aired 12 days later. Now I guess he was on maybe the half of the second season, and then they had an episode of special, talking about his last episode, and they reworked the show a bit, where James Garner came in as Katie Seagal's dad. Then later, David Spade came in. I feel like at some point David Spade was just showing up on sitcoms, like, oh, we need someone, call Spade. I never watched any of those episodes. I just remember it was on. They renamed it 8 Simple Rules. And after the 3rd season, it was canceled because it moved down to 90th place. Now, this is how different the world is. 90th place with an average of 6 million people watching each episode. Right now, it would be one of the top rated shows in America, or at least broadcast television shows. But it was getting 10 million, the first couple seasons, and drops down to 6. And I think, with that, and with the star of the show, John Ritter, no longer with us, it eventually, it succumbed to the cancellation bug. What I read was that after John Ritter passed away, producers weren't quite sure what to do. And Michael Eisner, this is according to Wikipedia, Michael Eisner, called the producers and said, I think you should continue with the show. And what you should do is make Katie Seagal pregnant. So she was pregnant with John Ritter's child. I guess there was a pregnancy scare in one of the episodes, but make her actually pregnant and she can have the baby for sweeps. And they were like, what the hell? Like, they thought that was really insensitive. I guess that was Michael Eisner. Then Bob Iger was like, yeah, it's a great idea. There was, back and forth arguments, and luckily they did not go that route. But I was wondering myself, did the unlucky, timing of this show, did it kind of change the trajectory of television? And, I hate to do this talking about someone who died, because it sounds really insensitive to me, like even thinking this. But if John Ritter didn't pass away, would they have gotten a couple more seasons out of the show? Would it have been continued to have been watched? And I guess they moved it to TGIF at some point, and TGIF wasn't the, it was almost like Friday night was kind of the death knell for some of those TGIF shows. Some shows obviously just like shined in that spot, but it doesn't seem like this did, even though, again, the numbers are miraculous for nowadays. But if John Ritter doesn't, tragically pass away, the show ends in 2003, but maybe it goes for 2 or 3 more seasons. At that point, would that mean that Kaylee Cuoco does not get cast as Penny in The Big Bang Theory? Now, I know if you go on YouTube, you can actually find the original pilot of The Big Bang Theory. It's a different woman. It's a different young lady playing. I don't even know if the character's name is Penny. Now I forget, or do they bring someone in and then they bring Penny in too? But I know there's a completely different neighbor. And then they recast with Kaylee Cuoco. Now, obviously, Kaylee Cuoco, to me, already was known for the show because I remember when Big Bang Theory came out, I was like, oh, that's the girl from Eight Simple Rules. That's all I knew her from. Now, you would never think that. You would say that's the girl from The Big Bang Theory. But if that show didn't go off the air, didn't end when it did, I wonder if The Big Bang Theory, if she would have got the cast there. I'm guessing not. And I'm wondering if it would have had the success that it has. Because yes, all the the guys on the show, they were like the big, comic relief, I guess. They were the major part of the show, but so was she. She was kind of the chemistry that, they brought all of it together. And I just wonder how different all of those, that show and all of their careers would have been if this show kept going for a couple. And even if, you can't say just, if John Ritter didn't pass, what if the show was, had the same success with James Garner and David Spade, which sounds ridiculous saying that. I think even seeing some of the promos, it's like John Ritter returns to network television. It was like a big deal because he hadn't been on network TV in, I would say, maybe 10 years, right? Because we had Three's Company, obviously the big one. Three's the Crowd, not so much. But then he was on Hearts of Fire. I've talked about that. And I don't know if he had anything else. He didn't have some TV show where he was, he had a beard and he was a writer. Hooperman. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to look this up right now. Hooperman. And he didn't have a beard, but oh my goodness, Hooperman. Hooperman is an American comedy drama that aired on ABC from 1987 to 1989. So, okay, he had that too. I cannot believe that I just pulled Hooperman out of my ass. That alone is a sitcom, All You Faithful miracle. So I never watched the show. And after watching this episode, I chuckled. I smiled. It was enjoyable. It was a pretty generic, Christmas story, just focused on the family. But it's not something that I would say, oh, I have to go back and watch every episode. It is available on Disney Plus, but only the first 2 seasons. So they don't have the 3rd season where Garner and Spade are regulars. I think they're in the second half of the 2nd season, but they don't become like star, quote unquote, main cast until the 3rd season, which is not on Disney Plus right now. But you can watch this episode right now on Disney Plus. And this episode is called All I Want for Christmas. It originally aired December 10th, 2002. And let's go into the TV Tango archives to see what was airing that evening on network television, December 10th, 2002. On the WB, 8 o'clock, a repeat of Gilmore Girls, followed by a repeat of Smallville. I've seen every episode of Smallville. It says Duplicity. So I'm going to guess that Duplicity is the one where Jonathan Taylor Thomas is splits in half. I think, is that Duplicity? I don't know. It's been a long time. It says here 4.1. You're telling me 4.1 million people watch Smallville? I don't know. Maybe. Again, 2002, different time. On UPN, we have a repeat of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Remember, it moved to UPN, followed by a repeat of One-on-One and a repeat of The Parkers. Lots of repeats as we're heading into the December season. On NBC, there is an Evening with the Dixie Chicks at 8 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, a brand new episode of Frasier, followed by a brand new episode of Hidden Hills. What the hell is Hidden Hills? Followed by Dateline NBC. Hidden Hills. I do not know the show at all. It is, who the hell is on this show? I don't know anybody. Justin Louise, Paula Marshall, Dondre Whitfield. I don't know who these people are, and I don't know what the hell Hidden Hills is, and it's not much listed here. Kristen Bauer, is that someone? Is she on Once Upon a Time? Well, maybe I do know her. Oh, I've seen her in something. Yeah, Hidden Hills. No, I've never heard of this, and neither of you. Now over on Fox, We have new episodes of That 70s Show, followed by Andy Richter Controls the Universe. Terribly underrated show. Actually, quite funny, quite well done. And it's day 2 from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. That's the episode title of 24. I think I started watching during season 2, quote unquote, day 2. On CBS, brand new. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's a repeat of Jag, followed by a brand new episode of The Guardian, and then at 10 o'clock, Judging Amy. And then, of course, on ABC, which is what we're focusing on this evening, 8 Simple Rules kicked off the night at 8 p.m., followed by a brand new According to Jim, starring Jim Belushi and Courtney Thorne-Smith, Life of Bonnie at 9 o'clock with, what was the woman's name? Bonnie Hunt. Oh, I always like Bonnie Hunt. And at 9:30, Less Than Perfect, a show that, is that Andy Dick? No, it's not Andy Dick. But, oh, wow. Zachary Levi, before he went total kook, was on this show. Andy Dick was on the show. I'm not crazy. And Will Sasso and Sherry Shepard. There's a lot of people on this show. Patrick Warburton. Are you telling me David Putty was on the show too? Less Than Perfect. It kind of rings a bell, but I've never watched an episode. 8 Simple Rules. That's the one we're focusing on here. All I Want for Christmas. It is a few days before Christmas at the 8 Simple Rules family household. What the hell's their name? I don't know, and it doesn't matter. And it's, typical teenage kids. One kid is hyper focused on her boyfriend and wanted to go on a party. Meanwhile, the son is focused on getting Christmas gifts and helping his dad with the neighborhood Christmas light contest, because ABC loves that stuff. Remember the Taylor family, the Toolman Taylor family. Oh, they did that just last week. We were talking about that. I don't know if that really is a thing. Now, I remember I grew up on Sycamore Road in my hometown, and across the street, like right at the end of my driveway, across the street, it became Jefferson. So you could go right down my driveway, right across the street into Jefferson. I used to ride my bike down there. They used to light up their trees like crazy. And it got in the newspaper. Oh, the local newspaper. When I was a kid, I was like, it got in the paper. This is amazing. And I used to love walking down the street, because at night with the snow and the Christmas lights, it was like, you could walk down in the middle of the night and it was all bright. It was awesome. But I don't remember there being a contest. But of course, we're across the street, a neighbor's going all out with all these lights, way more than Paul, I want to say, is doing for his family. But he wants to bring the kids to the mall to help them pick out something for Christmas. And they're like, hopefully you can do something better than last year. He's going to get them all the perfect Christmas gift. But maybe last year, because last year apparently he was at an airport. He was snowed in, stuck in an airport. So all he could get them was gifts from the airport gift shop. Now, the oldest daughter just wants a party. The youngest son doesn't quite know what he wants yet. And the middle daughter, the oldest daughter, did I say oldest son? The middle daughter comes in and she found a puppy. That's what she wants. She wants to keep this puppy for Christmas. The whole thing is, nope, we're not keeping this puppy. Paul wants the best Christmas ever. He's having Katie Segal hang up, this giant Christmas tree. It's not that giant, but it looked nice. He wants everything to be perfect. Meanwhile, she's focusing on singing the solo at church. Again, that's a Brady Bunch thing. None of this is terribly original at all. She's got a solo that she's worried about. It originally was going to go to another woman, but she fell off a ladder. I like that John Ritter said, did you wipe the prince ladder? Where I think the show works is the sarcasm between the kids and the parents. It's not, overly mean. It's realistic, where they pick on each other in a loving way, but they smile. And it reminds me, that's kind of how I work with my family, how I talk with them. I'm sarcastic and goofy and jokey, but never in like a mean way. I think that's where the show works at its best. So we're going to find out Katie Segal is going to sing at Christmas night, but she's afraid. She doesn't want any of them to go. The middle daughter wants to keep this dog, but they're like, nope, you can't, but we can help you. Paul wrote a column for them to go to for people to go and adopt a dog. And the daughter's like, I'm going to go to the mall and help out at the rescue to try to adopt the dog. She invites the rest of them to come, but they really don't want to help out, but they end up going anyway because they want to go shopping. I do like that Kaylee Cuoco wanted to stay 3 steps behind. Bridget, is that her name? 3 steps behind them. She doesn't want to actually be seen with them, with her dad and her brother. They do end up all helping them adopt all the animals, but one animal isn't adopted. And of course, it's the same dog that the middle sister wanted, Carrie, that she wanted. And they wheel that dog away. And I'm like, oh, heartless. But on Christmas Day, here's a surprise for all the Christmas. Everyone gets exactly what they want. The youngest son finally decides that he wants a chemistry set to blow up the world of science, like to have fun, but he really wants to blow stuff up. And the mom's like, no, and John Ritter's like, of course, no, and he's winking. She really means no, but he thinks she's being sarcastic, so she buys him the Christmas gift. He invites Bridget's ditzy boyfriend to spend Christmas with them, so that's his gift for her, for the oldest, and for the middle child. He does bring in the dog. They do adopt the dog. I don't know if the dog's there in the next episode. I don't know if the dog shows up, and they all go, and there is just a real, it's a little sappy, but it's just we just literally sit there and watch Katie Sagal sing Silent Night, like a few verses. She's got her, and I don't know if it's the same church the Taylors went in, but she's way better than that Taylor kid singing the first Noel. That kid sucked. Those kids sucked next to her. Katie Sagal is a true singer. She actually, was a touring backup singer. Like she is, if for like, I don't know if it was Tina Turner or something, but she actually, is a real deal musician. And it's funny. This is, Katie Sagal goes on to become Gemma Teller. Is that her name? Or whatever. It was some point it was Gemma Teller on Sons of Anarchy, which totally changed her. But whenever I hear her talking in this, she's not doing Peggy Bundy. She's just talking like herself. She's not scary like Gemma. To me, she sounds the most like Leela from Futurama. Just that's her normal voice. But it was just like nowadays I know her voice mostly when I hear it. I think Leela. And of course, Kaylee Cuoco goes on to be Penny for well over a decade, and now she's still, she had that stewardess show, flight attendant. She has another show on now. I mean, she's constantly working, and she's got some of that Priceline money. She definitely has a lot of that Priceline money. She took over, basically for Shatner. I don't know if she's still doing it. I don't even know if Priceline is still a thing, but if it is, then she's probably doing the commercial. The rest of the cast, the other brother and sister, it's not like, oh, they're in this. I don't really recognize them from anything else. Fun episode. I'm glad I watched it. I like filling in some of these 90s and this is the early 2000s shows that had a modicum of a following, enough so that it's on, Disney Plus. Had a fan base, but I never watched them. And 2002 at this point, I am married, living in our first house and working in the job I'm still working in today. So honestly, I probably about 5 miles away from where I am right now at this time of night. But I wasn't watching Thursday night. I wasn't watching 8 Simple Rules. I might have been watching NYPD Blue that night though. But yep, that's 2002, 22 years ago, which is crazy because Kaylee Cuoco, she doesn't look that much younger, but she definitely she looks, she definitely looks like a much, you don't think of her, even, I don't know when Big Bang Theory ended. Was that 5 years ago or something like that? A few years ago. But you don't think of her as that much, 20 years older. But I mean, it's funny how young she does look in this. But as I said, I'm glad I watched it, but it's not something where I say I need to go back and watch these other episodes. I got my fill. I enjoyed it enough. John Ritter is always good, and I like reading about how much they loved him and how much everyone loved him. I always like that. It reminds me of everyone with Bob Saget and how much they loved working with him on the Full House and how those guys really were lifelong friends. I always like seeing that, it's not just chemistry that you see, or these people work together for all these years, like they actually created something, a bond that lasts the rest of their lives. Now, I'm not saying, I don't know if that goes on with this, but it just seems like the people who work with John Ritter, had just had wonderful to say. And it is a shame that, I'm talking about a man's death while also at the same time enjoying his Christmas sitcom episode. So I'm going to leave it at that. I am going to say I'm all done here. But I am glad, again, I'm glad I watched it. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm not going to tell you what I'm watching yet, but I know what it is. And we're going back. We're going back decades. We're going back to black and white. That's all I'll say. And we're going back to something that is available for everyone to watch. I will put it in the show notes for tomorrow. But that's tomorrow. Until then, you can find me on Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Mastodon.social @GeekMentality. The Facebook page is Fans.Experts. The YouTube channel is Fans.Experts. The TikTok is Geek Mentality. Mike, the website is Fans.Experts.com. That's it. I'm done. 12 days down, 13 days to go. We're just about at the halfway point. In the middle of tomorrow's episode, we will be in the halfway point. That's how numbers work. And also tonight, this is my second podcast recording tonight. If you go to Fans.Experts within the next week or less, you will see a brand new episode of Fine Movies, Fine Spirits. Talk about the classic holiday family film from 1990, Home Alone. I just recorded that earlier today. So I got and Chris is going to be coming on to talk about a Christmas Office episode again for the 4th year in a row. We're going to try to schedule that next week. Until then, my friends, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I will see you tomorrow. And here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans, not experts.